Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Welcome to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. My name is Omobola Stephen. I have a guest with me who is going to be talking about, you don't want to guess what I want to be talking about. I wanted to seek one because you're going to have a really, really worthwhile listening experience, even as to stay tuned to this show today. Now, I have Kaleo Wheeler, who is an Aloha Practitioner, and women's art-based spiritual coach, and also a storyteller. She's and me on Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Welcome with me, Kaleo Wheeler.
Well, I'm so happy to be here today with you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be your guest and for us to have what Hawaiians call just some talk story today together. So,
thank you so much. Please, who is Kaleo Wheeler?
What?
Who is Kaleo Wheeler?
Who is Kaleo? Who am I? Okay.
Yeah.
I am a heart-based transformational spiritual coach. I'm also what I call an Aloha Practitioner. I teach Hawaiian. I'm a hula instructor, and as you said, a speaker storyteller. And the reason I do what I do, I have a passion for helping women because of my own journey. I had a lot of early trauma, emotional and physical trauma when I was young, and it followed me into my adult life and started me on a journey to try to figure out what life was all about. To find healing for that. And so I studied a lot of different things over the years, but it was when I came to, I was introduced to the ancient Hawaiian internal spiritual teachings and it was through hula that it finally helped my body to heal, or me to heal my relationship with my body and then with my spirit. And it changed my life. And so I've just been playing it forward for the last 35 years. in helping other women to have that same experience, while also helping to bring an awareness of who the Hawaiian people are as a culture, because they don't understand it. They don't understand even the real meaning of aloha. A lot of people think it's just hello and goodbye, and it's used as hello and goodbye, but what they're really saying is, I greet you with love, I leave you with love, and I wish you the very best of life.
Right. So what is the art of aloha?
What is what?
What's the heart of aloha?
What is the heart of aloha? That's my business. That's the business that I've created with a program that I have created to, again, help women on their journey. So it is grounded in these ancient Hawaiian spiritual internal teachings. It also has some body-mind integration techniques that I've learned over the years, including I was a voice specialist for a long time. And the main, what it's mainly about, what it is, is it helps women to reclaim their voices. I just feel so passionate in what we've been seeing in the last few years, and it is time for women to really find their inner voice, quiet that negative inner critic, open to the heart of the voice of their heart, which is always loving and positive, and then being able to express who we are to the world with grace, confidence, and joy. And the Hawaiian culture has got, I mean, it's interesting, Omobola. It's when you hear some of the teachings, they sound like they're new dimensions of thought, but they're not. You know, this way of living is very ancient. It's got tremendous roots in history. And it was because the Hawaiians lived on they've said to be the most isolated group of islands on the planet. And to survive, they had to find a way to get along, and they created a system called aloha, which is the way of the heart. And it is just about focusing on everything that is positive and loving. Their language, their original language, didn't even have any negative words. They were all just positive, coming from the heart. So it's,
do you have any strategies? Do you have any strategies that you employ? Do you have any strategies that you employ?
Yeah, I mean, I have a coaching program for women. And there are the tools and techniques, and it is through bringing in these teachings of helping women. The strategies is, first of all, is, we live in this world, as I say, because like their language was positive. We live in this world where so much of our languages are negative. It's about criticism,
right.
it's about judgment, it's about put down, it's making us feel small, making us feel there's something wrong with us that has to be forgiven. And the Hawaiian culture is all about, we come in as in our spiritual greatness of who we are as children of God. And so, yeah, we have these lessons and these challenges sometimes to help us to become even more of that, grow even more into that spiritual greatness. So the techniques are first to help people to realize that there's another way that we can see the world and we can live. And then to help them to find very simple and practical tools of how to quiet that negative voice, so that they can then start connecting to their inner guidance and their inner knowing, and create and express themselves, and especially for women, to then bring their creativity and their what their expression is, to help to bring peace to the world, which is what we all want, isn't it? So yeah, that's basically it. And then with hula, which is their sacred dance, because it is ancient storytelling. They didn't have a written language until the early 1800s. And so they, everything about the Hawaiian culture, their insights into life was all in their stories, and they grounded it into hula, this form of storytelling. And so when you do hula, there is a frequency that's created. It takes you out of your head into your heart, just through this form of movement. And so like for me, like I said, it really helped me heal my relationship with my body from this early trauma. And it's an incredible tool as a form of movement. And most people aren't really aware of what that is. So my biggest challenge is getting women in the door, because they have preconceived ideas of what it is. So once I get them in the door and they start seeing what it is, it's like, oh wow, it's really incredible. So that's why I call it the heart of Aloha, because it is my system, but it is grounded in helping you to connect to your heart through living the system of Aloha.
So what are your achievements so far?
How has it been working with that? I'm sorry,
how's it been with
the connection? It's a little hard for me to be hearing you.
Yeah, I mean, how has it been with the Aloha Practice?
Oh, how is it with the Aloha Practice? Oh, well, I mean, it's changed. Like I said, it's changed my life, and I now work with women. I have a school here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It is called a Halau, which is a Hawaiian school of hula. So I have a non-traditional school. I'm not Hawaiian, but where I teach hula to women. I also offer in Greenville, South Carolina, which is not too far from here. I offer a moving meditation class, helping women to tune out, take a time out from all this through doing this form of movement. And yeah, I'm just doing everything I can to help to bring an awareness, especially to the upstate South Carolina, and then like with you, wherever else I have an opportunity to spread a little bit of the word of Aloha.
Information is key. That's right.
Yeah. Well, and I've been very fortunate to have studied, even though I'm not Hawaiian, to have studied with a lot of master teachers. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed at what I think of who I've had the opportunity to study with. And they say, if my spiritual teachers say, if you've been open to receiving this knowledge of what Aloha is, then you have a responsibility to share it, and how do we bring this in the Hawaiian system they call a lei, bring this lei of love. And it's this tradition, it's through Hawaiian, some traditions it's namaste. Sure, your cultures have their own way, but how do we create this circle of love around the planet, so that we can start seeing the changes we are all so strongly
that's right. It begins with us. It begins with us. That's right.
Yeah.
So how can one connect with
I'm sorry.
spiritual senses.
How can
How
what?
can a person connect with his or her? How can someone connect with his or her spiritual senses?
How can I'm sorry,
How can
it's hard for me to understand you.
I
How
mean,
can I connect?
I'm saying that how can someone connect with his or her spiritual senses?
With spiritual what? Senses?
Senses, yes. How can someone connect?
Well, the thing is, how would I want to answer that? Connect with your spiritual senses. Again, with what I focus on is it's a lot through voice. It's a lot through our words. There's frequencies. In the Hawaiian culture, their original language was said to be a living language, but it also comes over into other languages like the word love, I mean, for us to be very aware of the words we use and our intention behind our words. And so, because there are frequencies and, what you extend out comes back to you. So it is to open up your senses through the frequencies in this culture, and it's through the frequencies of the sound. Chanting is very important to them. So we oftentimes will work with chant. I mean, like right now, everything in our world here in the United States is so crazy and everybody is so stressed. So in my hula classes this week, we have been doing both hulas and chant, ones that will bring us into more alignment, as we are also then taking that energy and sending that out to the world. So it's through chant, it is through doing the hula, it is through helping people just to, if you get really, really stressed, one way to really experience that spiritual sense is also to focus on what can you be grateful for. When we get stressed and kind of losing track of ourselves, oh, this is going wrong, that's going wrong, it's all that negative stuff. Well, there's always something good going on. So, and if we focus on what we can be grateful for, we take a breath, we focus on that, suddenly it doesn't seem so bad. So that takes us right down back into ourselves. So, a lot of it is in what I work with is not different than other things other techniques and stuff. The thing I like about it is in the Hawaiian culture, how they put it into this package that is very neat, practical, simple, and it just all sort of makes sense. So it's, to me, it's from a lot of the things I've studied over the years, it's what I have found to work as the most efficiently in helping to connect to your inner spiritual sense, your inner spiritual heart, your inner spiritual true self.
Right. So how can one listen to the voice of the heart?
How can one listen to the voice of the heart?
Yeah.
By it's quieting the mind. It's quieting the mind, but the challenge, I mean, it is, I laugh, Omobola, because it's simple. It is just about quieting the mind and just being in a meditation and listening. It's what we all know to do. But I don't know where you are here, again, with so much stuff going on, our negative minds are going crazy. And what I call the rackaroo of our minds. So to try to sit down and be quiet and listen, it's difficult, isn't it? Because sometimes the mind is just going. So how do you listen to the voice of the heart? Yeah, what are the tools? I mean, just even understanding why, because all your negative beliefs come from old limiting beliefs. I mean, the inner negative self-talk comes from your old limiting beliefs. It comes from old conditioning. So if you start understanding that better, but then, having simple tools that, and a lot of it too is, again, being aware of how you talk to yourself, that negative voice. How are you talking to yourself? What are you saying? How are you beating yourself up? And how can you replace that with positive words, self-affirmation, self-love, self-appreciation, self-acceptance? So that's what I like about, again, ancient Hawaiian teachings, because it all is about connecting and celebrating your spiritual greatness, that we are all great
And that's
And
important.
So keep reminding yourself of that. And then again, having simple techniques to be able to just focus on that, to get you out of your head. If you can get into your body, this is what I love about hula, is because of the nature, it's very fluid and fluid, similar to the Chinese Tai Chi, if you know what that is. But it's also telling these stories just by the nature of the fluidity of it. It takes you out of your head and just takes you into your body. So it's quieting that mind, and you get into your heart, and then you just start feeling more of that sense of who you are and what you are. And then you can start getting your insights. You can start getting those messages of your heart coming to you. So it's just, how do we get that mind quiet so we can hear the voice of the heart? Does that make sense?
Right. It does. Thank you so much for that exposition. It's
I
been
hope that was
Omobola Stephen. I've been having a brilliant discussion with Kaleo Wheeler, who is an Aloha Practitioner, also a women's art-based spiritual coach, and also a storyteller. I wanted to ask this important question, and I know you have something to say about it. Now, tell me about the Hawaiian 3 series, or Hawaiian 3 selves.
The Hawaiian 3 selves?
Yeah.
That's one of the systems of Hawaii, is that, and this is another way that you can actually come to understand why you can get caught up in a lot of negativity. It helps you to understand more of where this comes from, the limiting belief. It's just a practice of how you can see the mind. It's still the mind, but you've got the conscious, the subconscious, and the higher conscious. And how we get in trouble with it all is the subconscious. In the Hawaiian, it's called the ku, is where it's like that's connected to the body too, because we hold all our memories in our bodies. And that's why our bodies get stressed. And so what happens with this little ku, this subconscious, what's interesting about it, according to, again, the Hawaiian culture, is that subconscious, it doesn't differentiate between the past and the present. It goes for pain, it goes for pleasure, not pain. But it doesn't differentiate between the past and the present. So if we allow ourselves, so this is where it's, any of these practices, any spiritual practice, you can say they're simple. In essence, they're easy if you choose to do them. The challenge of sometimes how they're not easy is making that decision to actually discipline yourself to do them until they become more second nature. And so what happens is, if you start going in, if something triggers you in the moment and you start experiencing the same feeling that's associated with something that happened in the past, it takes you back to that memory of the past. And if you feeling that emotional charge, you've actually just recreated it in the present. And so you've just you traumatized yourself again. And then you got to deal with it in the present. So because the ku doesn't differentiate past or present. So if you can instead be aware with this as a discipline, and if you're experiencing some kind of emotional pattern, negative emotional pattern that you get into, and you go, ooh, okay, where's that coming from? Why am I reacting so strongly? Oh, it's probably from what happened. Okay, well, what did I learn from back then? Who am I now because of that experience? So you take the lesson, but you don't allow yourself to get engaged in that memory. And that's the thing, we have a tendency of, we go down the rabbit hole and go revisit, play it over and over. I respect therapists a lot, psychologists and such, but I do have issue with when you're just going and talking about, well, this happened and this one in my past. It's helpful to get a clear idea of what's going on, but when do we finally say, okay, enough? What have I learned from it? Now, how do I bring it into the moment? And that's where you bring in what they call the conscious self. Make the decision of, all right, what am I going to do in this present moment? That's the past. Okay, this is how I can repattern it now in the present. What can I do to do that? And then the higher self comes in and gives that little spiritual oomph to help you to do that. That's a tool you can use, but it doesn't even have to be as that complicated. It's just recognizing the way that I use that, Omobola, is that it's more of a tool of just helping you to understand sometimes why it seems like, oh my God, here I am in that same old issue all over again. When am I going to get past it? And then you beat yourself up for it. Instead of, no, this is an opportunity. Okay, I'm not who I was then. What did I learn from that? And what can I bring that into the now? And it's also too, we think too, when something comes up again like that, oh, see, I'm a mess. I can't get over that. Here I am. I mean, when am I going to learn? Instead of, that here I am stuck in the same pattern. Instead of realizing there's layers, there's layers. And
right.
Every time, I'm doing all the talking. I'm not hearing anything about what you're with, but that's fine. But there's layers. And so if something gets triggered again, like an old memory of the past and a feeling, it's also not that we're still stuck in it or lost in it. We can say, okay, well, that's the coup reacting. I don't have to. I'm in the now. And that's just maybe another layer of whatever this issue was, if it was a deep issue. This is just another layer for me to look at. Oh, I'm going down a little bit deeper, clear it up, cleaning out another little level until you finally get down to the core of it, and then it's gone. So, it's just we beat ourselves up so much.
Right.
So a lot of this is just giving tools and awareness of it's all a process. It's all a process. And in the Hawaiian tradition, they have this, I know this is just an audio, but they have where they have their thumb and their index, thumb, pinky finger extended out, the other finger's closed. It's called a shaka sign. And it means hang loose. And you see how people in Hawaii giving that little flick of their hand to people. It's another way to say aloha, but it's also saying the Hawaiians they're very responsible about respecting each other, loving each other, being there for each other. No one's left behind, including the land. So that's their kuleana, their spiritual practices. But at the same time, hang loose, bro, and don't take it too seriously. Enjoy life. You got to enjoy life.
Right. That's right. Thank you so much.
That's the key of it all.
Oh, thank you, Kaleo.
How does this fit in with your beliefs?
Yeah, because I wanted to ask about these beliefs. I wanted to ask, where do beliefs come from, right? And what purpose do they serve us?
Where do the beliefs come from?
Yes, and what purpose do they serve us?
A lot of it is our conditioning and our cultural background. I mean, as children, we look to our caretakers as children and we trust what they're telling us because we need them to survive as a child. And so we take to heart what they tell us. And like for me, I was abused when I was in school. And it was a teacher in school. And she said, oh, well, don't tell anybody because they're going to see you as this bad and they're going to punish you. And I believed her. She was my caretaker. I didn't know any different. So I never told anybody what happened. And doesn't that happen a lot to children? And so then that belief came into my mind, and then a few other things happened of there's something wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. I thought, I don't know, but something's wrong with me. Something must be inherently wrong with me. And I carried that belief into my adulthood. Luckily with the awareness I had, because I came in with a strong sense of spirit, it pushed me, and I think a lot of people, to start looking for answers. And that's why I studied all these different, especially indigenous traditions. But yeah, that's where the beliefs come from. It's this conditioning that is placed on us because we live in especially a fault-finded society right now in our Western world. Again, absolutely. I don't know about where you are in your world.
Absolutely.
In our Western world, it's a very fault-finding society, and so we're told as children that there's something wrong with it, instead of you're this incredible being and just enjoy it and get out there and experience life. And yeah, you're going to go through challenges and sometimes it's going to be difficult relationships and whatever, but still just experience the joy in being able to feel all this and experience all this and learn more about what it is to be this incredible spiritual being. I mean, that's the way the original Hawaiians were brought up. I mean, wouldn't that be an incredible way to start your life, But
Absolutely. In the right part. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for them. So do you have any
final words? Well, if anybody is interested in knowing any more about me, you can always find me. I have a women's group, Women's True Voices on Facebook. And my website is theheartofaloha.com. Anybody's got any questions? I've got an online coaching practice. So anyone would like to know anything more about it, just I appreciate, letting me know. But, and I appreciate you having me on here today. What I love about this is I don't know if you're in Canada right now or in Nigeria, but still the connection. I mean, isn't it wonderful how we are coming together as women here doing these podcasts from such a distance from each other. I mean, that gives me the Native American, and one last thing I'll say is I studied with a Native American woman for a long time, a shaman, and she said it was going to be through the feminine energy that healing was going to come to the planet, and not as in women, but in the feminine, like the divine feminine. But for women, it's for us to connect to who we are as women, because we embody that energy, and then we bring that to the men. And so this is what I'm seeing now is so wonderful. Like here we are as women with no boundaries of where we live, coming together.
Limitless.
So, this is awesome. This is awesome. So I thank you so much for letting me be here today with you.
Thank you so much for also coming on the show. Some other time, I believe we can do this again.
Oh, well,
thank you so much, Hallelujah.
I've also just started doing podcasts as well.
Great.
And I'm not doing guests right at the moment because we're getting it started. But I would like to make a formal invite to you here that once we start having guests, I would really love to have you on it so you can talk more about what you do there.
I will love to. So when the time is right, I will come on board.
A month or so until we get a few because what we do is a little different. So we're wanting to get a kind of the theme of it established, and then we're going to start.
Oh, that's okay. So we have each other's contact, so we can get.
Yes. But I definitely would like to have you on my podcast too.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Best of luck always.
Thank you, and the same to you. The same to you.
All right. It's been Omobola Stephen. Thank you for hanging with me on this show. Let's do this some other time. Till I come your way, I need you to stay soft for always. It's bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.